Wise Pineapples. Welcome to the Juicy Tidbits podcast, where my mission is to energize you, your team, and your sweet results. I'm your host, Christine Trippi, the Chief Fun Officer here at the Wise Pineapple. Today, my guest star is my friend, Seema Jain. Seema has years of experience helping companies become more culturally competent. Her company, Seva Global, customizes service to include cultural trainings, workshops, presentations, speaking engagements, and consultations. Previously, Seema worked with Marriott International as a Senior Director of Multicultural Affairs. And before that, she was a Senior Sales Manager who supported my hotel. Is that cool or cool? Welcome, Seema. Hello, Seema. Oh, thank you so much for being here to energize our hardworking hospitality people.
I appreciate today your time and very excited to talk to everybody in the hotel industry.
Yes, I love your outfit too. Tell us a little bit about your outfit.
Well, this actually came a shirt from Singapore that my husband purchased for me a few years ago. And I love my multicultural wardrobe. So whenever I get the opportunity, I try to bring clothing from around the world.
I love that. You are so awesome, Seema. I could just go on and on and on for days about all the things you helped me when you were my sales manager with cultural competency. You were just awesome. So I'm so excited for you to share your juicy tidbits. Now, first question, real hard hitter right off the bat. What is your favorite cultural meal?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think aside from our traditional Indian food, anything outside, I would say Mexican is probably my favorite food. A lot of similar spices, a lot of cilantro and peppers. So I would say Mexican food is probably my favorite. Or I can say my mom's food. That's probably a good one too.
Okay, I love that. Love that. Well, to tell everybody this, you've had such an amazing career journey here. You were a sales manager with Marriott International, and then they created a position for you called the Senior Director of, I just said it, the Multicultural Director. And they created this position just for you. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Okay. Well, actually, my background is finance and economics. As a first generation Indian born in this country, my parents didn't give me a lot of choices growing up. So if you know a lot about our Indian community, we could either be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or business. And I chose that business path. So way back in the day, I did pro formas and discounted cash flows. But as my parents had decided to purchase some hotels in the 90s, I thought I better learn this industry and maybe I will help them at some point. So I didn't know what an ADR was. I did not know what, RevPAR, all these acronyms. So I decided to join in Marriott International. I talked to a friend and he hooked me up with the Lincolnshire Marriott Resort. If you remember, started off as corporate sales. And as the years evolved, our sales model had changed to the SFO, Salesforce Organization, where Christy, that's where you and I started joining forces as your hotel was part of my portfolio. Right. So one day in 2008, if you remember, the economy was not so good. So in 2008, during this recession year, I had to struggle to figure out how am I going to make my numbers. And we had a Residence Inn in our portfolio at that time. And I noticed that a group of travelers were staying at a competitive hotel. I had to figure out how do I get them to move to my hotel. So I worked with the GM at that time and realizing that my hotel had plenty of challenges. It was outdated, not renovated, Gen 1, everything against me. But as you know, as a good salesperson, that does not stop us. So I asked the travel manager, can you shift these guys to my hotel? And if you do so, I'm going to add ethnic breakfast items. I'm going to add ethnic TV shows. I'm going to make appealing to them from their cultural needs. So she said, okay, I'm going to give you the next group. We're going to try it out. Sure enough, they loved it. After staying in a hotel for months and months, they appreciated some comfort food. Think about this, Christine. If you go to another country, after 10 days, you start missing maybe some comfort food. You want a pizza, you want some mac and cheese, you want a hamburger. So we made sure that they were taken care of from a cultural level, and this hotel did phenomenal results. I think 20-fold from the investment to the return. It was amazing. And that story went to corporate. Corporate created the position for me in 2012. And then I was able to do this for many hotels. So that's where my journey started. That's how I got into cultural competency, to help other hotels realize that being culturally competent, you can drive the bottom line results too.
Absolutely. And I remember all of those things that you did. You helped me many times with our different cultural diversity in our hotel and how we can celebrate different holidays that we just didn't really know much about and afraid to ask. But you were just so wonderful and you so knowledgeable and such a great asset to all of our teams in that area. Now, didn't one of our general managers actually put bidets in their hotel to make it more culturally competent?
Yes. So with our
Carolina,
it was Carolina.
Carolina
Had a hotel that had a lot of Japanese guests, and in her market there was a high number of Japanese companies that were footprinted in that area. So in order to differentiate herself, and this is the tip I always tell hotels, you need to know what your competition is doing and you need to go up 2 levels, right? Yeah. So she not only had Japanese breakfast, which was kind of standard in her area, she went up and put bidets in bathrooms, which her Japanese guests loved. Yes. So they're not accustomed to toilet paper, but they appreciated the bidet in the hotels, and that really elevated the service to them.
Yeah, Carolina is awesome too. So if you're out there, Carolina, big shout out to you.
Absolutely.
She's fantastic. Well, you just have such a wealth of information. I just love all the juicy tips you have for everybody. Now, as you know, this episode is just a quick, juicy tidbit of inspiration to help our leaders to be confident, be empowered, and to lead from the heart. Which one are you focusing on today?
Today, I'd like to focus on being confident. And what that means is being confident when you work with people of different backgrounds. When you're working with your multicultural guests, sometimes we're a little hesitant because we don't know how they want to be treated. But if you learn about their background, you learn about their customs and protocols and their norms, it will help you win that business in a very genuine, authentic way.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you to give everyone, I know you have 8 juicy tips to give. Yes. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to turn it over to you, Seema. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being with me today. I'm going to give you 8 tips of how to be a little bit more culturally competent so you can be culturally confident when working with those multicultural guests. Tip 1, remember how to address someone when they come to your hotel. In this country, we're a very casual culture. We usually address people by their first name, and that's completely acceptable. But in many parts of the world, they like honorific titles, whether it be Professor Lee or Director Wright. They need some sort of title. It could be a Mr. or Mrs. It could be a Jane Sans if I was in Japan, or Senor if I was in Latin America. So keep in mind that not everybody might like the casual name. You want to start and go on a formal basis and let them come to you on how they would like to be addressed. Now, that can be for anybody, and you can ask that question, how should I address you? And that is completely fine. So that was tip 1, knowing that the rest of the world's a little bit more formal than we are here in the USA. My second tip is language and translated documents. Think about a time when you've gone to another country and you may not understand Arabic or Portuguese or Russian. And it's nice when you see things in English as well. It's likewise, when people come to our country, and international travel will come back, I'm sure, in the next few months as our COVID is getting a little bit better in this country. But it is something to think about that you could have translated materials, whether they be marketing materials or something at the front desk or a letter for the GM from the GM. Think about translated documents or maybe even your website. The third thing to remember is punctuality is different around the world. Not everybody is as punctual as we are here in the USA. Some people have, as we would say in India, Indian stretchable time. The 9 a.m. meeting could be 9:15 or 9:30. So everybody's punctuality version is a little different around the world. I'm sure you've had guests that do come late, or maybe late on a Zoom call in this type of environment. But it is something to note that it is not always about the thing that you think about is 9 a.m. is 9 a.m. It could be that 9 a.m. could be 8:45 in one culture, especially like a German culture where they like to be a little bit early, or it could be 9:15 in maybe Mexico or India. So noting that and noting time zones. Time zones vary and we're on jet lag. If you're doing a meeting with someone in another country, be mindful and respectful to the time zone that they are in as well. Another important thing is as we are very much of a more of a transactional type of culture where we just come to the business, we like to do our contract, we like to get things done in a certain way. Many cultures around the world stem on a relationship building culture, which means you really need to get to know your client, understand them first, and then you can go to business. So you might sit there and talk about someone's family member's health or understand what's going on in their life on a personal level before you can engage on the business level. So again, nothing is right or wrong. It's just understanding and being mindful to different cultures around the world and the way people want to be treated. Another big takeaway or another lesson would be international holidays. Around the world, people are celebrating international holidays, and most of your companies could be on a global level where you have hotels around the world. So keep in mind that if our Chinese guests or our Chinese colleagues are celebrating Chinese New Year, we want to give them that space. I don't want to put a meeting during their special holiday. Likewise, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope somebody doesn't put a meeting on your calendar for December 24th at 5 p.m. because you're probably with your family. So being mindful to people's holidays, understanding when they're celebrating, we might want to back off or just let them enjoy their family time and their holiday time. Another great tip would be make sure you educate your associates. It's great that you're on this call and it's great that you are learning a little bit, but it's important that we start from everybody, frontline team, back of the house, sales, events, banquets. When I did the Culture Day classes at the hotel, I realized that everybody would engage and everybody would benefit from being more culturally competent or increasing their cultural intelligence. So something to think about is knowing how we can start from day one. Maybe it's with the associate training at the beginning that we start teaching them how to be a little bit more culturally competent because you will have guests of different backgrounds. And then one final thing, or actually two final things, is understanding the multicultural social events. Right now, and being Indian, those Indian weddings, which I'm sure all of you have experienced to some capacity, is coming back. Indian weddings are huge and they spend a lot of money. There are a lot of people, large number of days, and they're almost like a corporate event. So understanding all the terms of that is important, or understanding everything about a Jewish bar mitzvah or a Jewish wedding or a quinceanera. But the multicultural social events are also a big part of our company's business. Keeping that in mind. Final tip here that I'm going to give you is about food and beverage. So food and beverage today has changed quite a bit. Now it's not important just to know what's on the menu, but to understand dietary restrictions, whether you be vegan, vegetarian, or gluten-free, whether the person is needing kosher food or halal food. These are all things that we need to be very mindful of. It really shows that you took the extra effort and you want to take care of them. So keep these things in mind. Look at your menus. Do you have something that will appeal to a vegan, gluten-free guest who has both dietary restrictions? So I figure if you have one thing on your menu that has that, then it appeals to everybody. Because we can eat a vegan gluten-free meal, but a person who needs to be vegan gluten-free cannot eat everybody else's meals. So looking at these are always great. So those are little tidbit facts that you can do. And when you take our workshops, we go into it a lot more.
Yes, her workshops are amazing. And those are great 8 tips. Great to talk to your huddle about. This will be a great idea to write those 8 tips down and maybe each day talk about one particular thing or one different custom. If you have a group coming into your hotel, again, definitely learning about that group and their customs. So let's just review those 8 again. How to address a guest, language and translated documents, punctuality and time zones, relationship building in culture, international holidays, educating associates on being culturally competent, understanding multicultural social events, and food and beverage, knowing those dietary restrictions. Great 8 tips, Seema. Thank you so much for those.
Absolutely.
Great huddle topics for today. So as you know, as the chief fun officer over here, and you know me, Seema, I'm always having fun.
That's what I love about you, Christine, is you've got the energy that I could use 10 times of that. So I appreciate you.
Seema, I don't know. I think your energy is right there with me. Your energy is out there as well. I love you. So what I thought I would do today is flip the script today and let you give me a 3-question trivia on cultural competency. And then I've got one for you at the very end.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So one of my favorite trivia questions is, do you know what the Chinese lucky number is?
I actually do know this one. One, because I remember you teaching me it, but
Yeah.
I just saw last week on Property Brothers that somebody put an offer in for 8888888 because
That
that's
is
the
right.
lucky number.
That is right. And do you know the reason why?
I did know, but I'm running a blank now. Why is it?
So 8, when spoken in Chinese, sounds like wealth. And,
Oh,
and so we like to place our guest on the 8th floor or the 8th building or room 888. They love the number.
I love it.
6 is also a good number. The number you want to avoid is 4. So 4 sounds like death. So we don't want to, when possible, not use the 4 or the 4th floor or something. Now, obviously, if your meeting room's on the 4th floor, there's nothing you can do, but that's just something you can think about. So
yeah, but extra little touch.
it's and just knowing lucky numbers, like we in America, 13 is not a good number, right? So we don't use that. So knowing other cultures' numbers is also important for marketing, for just, front desk to know things like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to tell you this because we're talking about it. It's so funny. I just developed a partnership with Solera Hotels, and I sent it out, and basically each hotel in the portfolio covers part of my my monthly fee. And when you divided it out, it ended up being 666 per hotel.
There you go. There you go.
So we were like, okay, let's change that. I love that. Yeah.
All right. I got another trivia question. Okay. This, I'm going to take you now to South America.
Ooh.
Do you know in Brazil how many times they have won the FIFA World Cup for soccer? How many times have they won?
I do not know.
Okay. So for my sports people out there, we know that sports is a great way to connect with different cultures, right? That's one topic that everybody can speak. It might be football in America. It might be soccer or foosball. It could be cricket. It could be so many different sports around the world, but it's a great way for engagement. But in Brazil, they have won 5 times. And the way you would know that, as you know, Brazil loves their yellow and their green for their flag. If you look at the stars on my shirt, there are 5 stars, and those stars represent the number of wins. So when they hit 6, we should get new t-shirts, and I will get the 6 stars at that point.
That's awesome. And yes, they are all about their sports. So
they're about their sports.
No.
Right. And also know who's winning, who's not, because you want to make sure that you're on the right side. So knowing sports is a great way to engage with the guest who's, if they're Pakistan, India is doing a cricket tournament, or Argentina, Brazil is having a soccer game. Knowing this is important too. It's important.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And we often will think, like, remember when the Cubs finally won the World Series?
Exactly.
That was a great thing for all of our teams to be, or all of our hotel teams to be talking about. But we aren't as often thinking about that international thoughts and sports and things that are going on in the news and whatnot. So wonderful. That's such another great huddle. That's awesome. All right. What's your last trivia for me?
All right. Here's my last one. I'm going to take you kind of to the Middle East area.
Okay.
And how many times, and it's not that everybody in the Middle East is Muslim and that everybody is coming from there, but how many times a day does, on average, a Muslim pray? And generally speaking, not everybody will do it, but what is sort of the general?
How about we say morning, noon, and night? So 3 times a day.
That's a great answer, but it's actually 5 times a day.
5, okay.
5 times a day. So what you can do is there's an app on the phone, and if you have a Muslim guest, you would know right away what those times are because they are based on the lunar or the sunrise and sunset. So you would know, and you would do that. The reason I want you to know that is because if you're planning a meeting and you know that your contact or client is really practicing and doing 5 times a day, you don't want to schedule a meeting during that time so that you can respect that he needs or she needs to do her prayer. So keep in mind, and I've seen hotels where they actually put in a note in the room saying these are your prayer times for the day, or they have it up at the front desk just to show that you understand that that is something. So if you have a large Muslim group coming in, that could be something to think about.
I love that.
Yeah.
I remember, and if it's been so long now, so you're gonna have to help me.
Okay.
Now, the praying towards Mecca, that is that all the time? Is that just during a holiday?
So people pray facing Mecca. Wherever they are in the world, they usually pray towards the direction of Mecca.
Okay. Well, I remember we were having a group in that was something important to them. And you helped me with this. This has just been so long, I can't remember it all. We set up our meeting room because that was the closest to that. And we set up yoga mats and whatnot. And we had that available for them to use in and out all day whenever they needed it. So I love that. And also for people traveling, they might not know when those sunset, sunrise times are. So for you to put that on there and be prepared, that is amazing. So these are all amazing tips that you can do to help create incredible, extraordinary experiences for your international guests. I love these all. All right. So my trivia for you, Miss Seema Jain, I'm going to put the trivia question up here. It is, how much pizza do Americans eat each day?
Wow. Is that in like the entire population?
That would be the entire population of America.
Is that the answer in whole pie or slices?
I've got answers in acres, and I've got
wow. I hope we're not at the acre point. Wow. I don't even know where to start with that one. You got to give me a little gauge of
how many billion? How many billion do you think?
Oh my God. Let me say 2 billion.
Okay, it is 3 billion pizzas are sold annually.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. I did not know that.
It equals about 100 acres of pizza.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good one because I learned something new from you. And Christine, the main thing I want your audience to know is that being culturally competent doesn't require that you need a big budget. It is a lot about learning little things, and remember how to treat someone the way they want to be treated is very important. So it doesn't require high budgets. It doesn't always require, it's about the little things we do that make a difference.
Exactly. How to address, how to shake, bow. What was that book called? Shake, bow?
Kiss, bow, and shake hands. Yes, by Terry Morrison. Great book. Absolutely.
Great book. Yeah. So yes, all of those things. Even when you helped me with Diwali, we just put out the little cookies, the tea, very simple things. But man, people are just like, wow, they really respect and appreciate my differences. So I love that. Thank you for everything you do for our industry. You're just beautiful. So Seema, tell everybody how they can connect with you and all the awesome stuff you bring.
Sure, absolutely. So they can visit my website, which is, I think you'll post it later on, but it's www.seva-global.com. Go there. All my contact information is there. You will see my phone number, my Calendly, everything you need. So please reach out to me if you want to learn more, or if you want to do something with your team, happy to do so. And I am always available. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. And, this industry, it's got so much potential, and I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to grow.
Awesome. Love it. That's awesome. I have that up, and I have all of her contact information in the show notes. So if you need, just go right back to those show notes as well. Plus, Seema is on LinkedIn, and you can find her there as well. All right, Seema, we end every single huddle with great energy. So what is your phrase of the day?
So my phrase of the day is get multiculturally smart.
Woo, we could do that.
I want everyone to get multiculturally smart.
I love it. So everyone, wherever you are, bathroom, car, lobby, office, wherever you are, I want you to put your hands in.
Put our hand in.
Seema, why don't you count us down and give it to us?
All right. So here we go, guys. 3, 2, 1. Get
multiculturally smart. Woo! Seema Jain, you are a shining star. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Christine, for having me, for thinking about me. And again, for your attendees, your audience, anything I can do, let them reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
Love it. Thank you so much, Seema. See you soon.